Hey guys, this is your horny host, Sasha Fierce, and you are listening to an episode of We're All Fckd, a podcast all about sex, dating, non-dating, and relationships with the hopes of improving sexual confidence and skills. Times are crazy nowadays. We should all know how to get fucked the right way. Welcome, all you sexy listeners, and thank you for joining me for the 8th episode of We're All Fckd podcast. Today's topic is female ejaculation, which is totally a thing. If you don't believe in it, please do today. So last week on episode 7, we discussed the female orgasm, and we touched a bit on the female ejaculation. So today we're just going to dive into this very taboo topic very specifically. So ladies, I need you all to get wet, get fucked, get off, and come. Don't be afraid to come. We're going to talk more about that, and we are going to help you accomplish that if you are having difficulties doing so. So again, with me today are two very lovely and sexy ladies, Mo and Ariella.
Hello.
Hi.
If you all heard in the last episode, they were with me to talk about the female orgasm, so I'm very excited that we can get into the rest of this topic. So, girls, tell me, do you come when you orgasm?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah? What about you, Ariella?
Yeah.
How do you come? Like, do you have different ways that you come, or is it just squirting? Do you just get wet and kind of come like
so
the white stuff type?
I only squirted twice in my life. In terms, otherwise, it's just like very thick. It doesn't come outward. It's just, yeah. It
when
scares
they're
the
fucking
shit.
you, they can see like the.
Yeah,
the
they're like, holy shit. I was like, dude,
dick.
that's me.
Because it almost looks like theirs. Got it. Ooh, that's interesting. Sometimes I do that, and I'll be like, what the hell is that? And, you know, I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. But I'm primarily a squirter, so I usually squirt every time I orgasm. The 2 times that you squirted, though, do you remember what you did specifically, or what was being done to you specifically? Was it by yourself or with someone else?
It was always with someone. The first time someone was going down on me, glasses just full of all that jazz. And the second time, I think we were having sex, and he pulled out, and he was like, holy shit. I was like, I know. Yeah. Very surprised, but yeah.
Have you ever done it while masturbating?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Have you tried to? Or you just
no.
let yourself orgasm?
I don't know.
Just don't know?
I don't know how to
love that.
just do it. I don't know how to make myself do it. It happens.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's like really cool because it's like because sometimes in my brain I'm thinking people can enjoy the orgasm or come better when they're by themselves and allow them to release that better when they're by themselves. I think in those 2 cases, the way that you were having sex hit a certain spot that allowed you to do that. Mm-hmm. And because he pulled out, I'll talk about that later, but because he pulled out, I guess, at the time, and then that happened. Mm-hmm. Were you on, do you remember being on top or he was probably on top, right?
I don't remember.
All good. I'm just curious. And especially for the listeners out there to understand that, oh yeah, I can only squirt this way, or like I've only squirted in this position, or I can, you know, it only works this way. Or like me, where I could just,
I don't remember.
Play with my nipples.
Here we go with the damn nipples.
That's insane. What about you, Ariella?
It doesn't happen every time, but I wouldn't say like often, but it happens more times than not, I would say. Mm-hmm. Thinking about your question to Mo, I've never squirted while being on top, though. That's never a position that has ever happened in. Every other position, yes. And also, like, if I do it when I masturbate, I feel like it's not as intense, but then again, it could be like me in my head, like stopping myself. Mm-hmm. If I have to think about it some more, I'm like, okay, wait, no, can't get too messy here. I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm like, I'm by myself, so should just probably try and limit it.
I think sometimes when people masturbate, it's either like, oh, I want to do this in the morning or before I go to bed, and you're thinking about all these thoughts, and like you're by yourself, so it's like, yeah, you can have moments where you're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable right now with myself to do this, just because you're overthinking because you're by yourself. Just from the stress alone. Like, I love to masturbate because I love sex and I love orgasms, but I also like that release to make me feel better afterwards. But let me tell you, sometimes it takes, depending on my mood, like 45 minutes to even get excited. I'm over here like, what is wrong with my clit? And I'm like hitting it, and I'm like, why are you not working with me? And it's because my mind is somewhere else, and then it makes it more stressful. And sometimes I just like, I'll have this massive orgasm and like maybe nothing will come out, and I'll be like, God fucking, I'll just throw my whole computer against the wall.
Oh
Because it's just my whole
God.
body just doesn't know how to properly react. And it's like, why am I struggling right now? And it's
Right.
all in the mental.
At first, personally, like, it's something that you have to get comfortable with. And I think that's probably like a lot of women, most women maybe, you gotta get comfortable with that action, like your body doing that. I think initially it was something that I was like embarrassed about happening. And it's like, oh my God, I don't ever want that to happen again. So you kind of like suppress it.
You're right.
But if your partner is cool with it, then it's like the floodgates are open now. Like you can't take it back.
Yeah, I dated a few people who were into it, knew that they were into it, or got into it later. I dated just a little bit of people that didn't like it at all, thought it was weird. For me, I can, like I said last time, I think I can control the amount, I can control how much I squirt. I can't control the orgasm. Sometimes I can't control the amount I squirt. But if I'm in a place where I know that there's no cleanup possible, then I really do my best to not do that. And like later when I, when I'm in a like home or something, I need to like get it out. I need to release that. So it's like that.
Right.
It's almost like you said, a suppressed orgasm, but it still is an orgasm for me. It's almost like I'm stopping right before it goes. But I think I still have that little bit of gush and that little bit of like where it gets extra wet and it gets extra like the consistency is less watery. Like when I'm there, like so it starts itself, but it doesn't like expel out like I can do, which is like
you can control
fire hose. Yeah. And again, it's because I spent years and years practicing. Girl, I masturbate more than any female I know. Probably more than porn stars, because porn stars spend time having so much sex. I don't think they have enough time in their privacy of their own home to masturbate as much as I do. I'm sure they're not in the mood, when they come home to just like masturbate.
Right.
I'm over here like 2-3 times. Oh my God. When was it? Thursday, Friday? I think I masturbated 4 times. Twice before 9. I've just had a lot of practice doing that. So thank you, ladies, for sharing that. These are very intimate conversations, but they need to be had because we all have different experiences ejaculating. And I think that's important to point out. And at different times, in different moods, and the body's the body. So this is all related. All right, so how does it happen? So last week we talked about how orgasms occur when the vagina and the uterus contract rapidly, and then you have involuntary muscle contractions in other parts of your body, and if you're lucky, you ejaculate. So it's very important to realize that they're two different things. Now, the ejaculation is when the fluid is expelled from the urethral opening, which in this case is called the Skene's gland, at the lower end of the urethra during or before an orgasm. Now, squirting and gushing is when the liquid is expelled so suddenly and aggressively, and because of that reason, some argue that it's a different phenomena just compared to regular cumming, which is what you explained.
Yeah.
So which is more of a consistency of a male's. So again, penis has the hole, the meatus, which has the semen and the urine coming out of it. We have the same thing. We have our Skene's gland where our cum and our urine also comes out of. In both of these liquids, there is traces of urine because
They're coming from the same.
it's coming from the same place that urine does. It's impossible, but it's not. I'll get into how it's just not. It's just not. I just want to scream that from the rooftops. So ejaculation and orgasms are two completely different processes. The orgasm is the wave of pleasure and release of sexual tension. The ejaculation is just the release of the fluid. They just come hand in hand. That's why you can have an orgasm and not necessarily come. For women, I think it's easier to do than for men. Then they get blue balls. Did you ever hear of blue balls?
Yeah.
Because I have to ask, because I feel like because you live on an island, you never heard of anything. I'm glad you don't call it something like green balls or something stupid.
Oh my God,
But
I can't with you.
So when I was in high school, actually, the guy that I lost my virginity to, I remember when you first lose your virginity, at least for people like me, we just wanted to fuck like rabbits all the time. And I remember a couple of those times we would have sex for so long, and we're at his parents' house, we're trying to be quiet, like it's not the most comfortable, like we're not making that much noise, and we were fucking for so long that like he would end up getting blue balls and it would be painful for him to not be able to come, and then that would just cause so much pain. So I always felt so bad. But yeah, so he would, I guess, have an orgasm and not be able to come, and then that would hurt. But for women, it doesn't happen that way. Like I said earlier, I can orgasm and like start to come and like not finish it and I'm fine. I have the feeling like I need to come, but it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. But unfortunately for guys, it does. But I'll talk more about that when I talk about the male side of all of this.
Oh man, could you imagine if it were painful if we didn't come? How many women would be out there like in pain?
I mean,
protest.
First of all, we'd be able to handle it because women handle pain much better. We're just built like that.
That is true.
And we're gonna be like, really, we got cramps now. Now a sore
Right. Right.
or like the clit might be just like swollen and
Oh my
painful,
God.
and you're walking because I have, like I said, a medium to large size clit. So sometimes I like if I'm horny and I'm walking, I feel it. I'm like, damn, like can you imagine if that was just in pain? Like people who get their clits pierced and then they have to walk for a couple days. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like that would just annoy me. But yeah, we don't need that. No, men can deal with that. All right, so just like men, you can't pee and ejaculate at the same time, even though they come from the same hole. So I just want to be clear, even though that the female ejaculation and the male ejaculation has traces of urine, doesn't mean that you're peeing at the same time that you're coming. That's just impossible. And I've practiced a lot with peeing before and after I have sex and I come or whatever, just to be super certain, especially peeing before, obviously. But if I have a lot of pee after, I'm like, oh, well, obviously that was not pee. That was not my urine that I just had. So it's so interesting, like the different, I guess, sacks that these are held in. I don't even know. Like I'm gonna have to look at the, whatever. But it is. It's like they are stored in like these little sacks, just like testicles. For those who haven't felt an orgasm before, I'm sorry if you're a grown adult and you haven't done that yet. Please work on that. If you feel it for the first time and you don't know what that sensation feels like, it is going to feel like you're peeing. It is going to feel like liquid is coming out of your vagina, because it is. And it's going to freak you out as long as you make it, a problem for you. As long as you can continue to believe that, you're not going to feel comfortable with coming if you can't get it out of your brain that it's pee.
Right.
You have anal, some people have anal sex and then they're afraid of squirting. It's like you poop from that hole. That's even more dangerous.
Dangerous.
Like it's like if God forbid something happens, it's like dangerous. People are worried about peeing. People drink pee to survive in the desert, but nobody's gonna eat shit because then you get diseases. So it's like one or the other, but like, or both. Like, I don't know.
You can still get something through the urine.
You can still get something, but I'm just saying, it's like, for people who are afraid that it's pee, they just don't want to pee. That's actually like a type of fetish or whatever, but it's still like, worse things can happen. Like you can poop during anal sex.
Yeah,
I feel like
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
That's
agree.
what I'm saying.
Yes, I get it now.
Body mouth.
People are scared of getting pee on them, but they would put their dick in an asshole where poop
That's what I mean.
is.
Without a condom, and
Yep.
Right.
And it's like, you didn't even ask the person what they ate that day, if they douched or not. You don't even fucking care. We'll risk it. Irish Spring bar will fix that all up.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
Anyway, you just have to trust that full body release. And whatever fluids come out, it's out of your control. You can't control a climax once it starts. Just let it go. If you don't let it go, you're going to be in pain. Emotionally or physically, either way. All right, so I have some pussy points, other than the fact that it is not pee. And again, I want to scream that from the rooftops. What makes it that argument, because there are doctors and people out there who have done research and they're like, no, but it contains urea and creatinine or whatever it's called. And it's like, okay, we get it. It's traces.
Sorry. I say that word at work all the time. I'm sorry.
You should have said this. Yeah, I'm not good with these. So, but yeah, so the Skene's glands is actually known as the female prostate, even though we don't have a prostate. That's comparing, that's what it would be. And the fluid created from there lubricates the urethral opening. So again, that Skene's glands is the sac that holds that, and then the bladder, holds everything else. Yeah, it has a tiny trace of urine. Who cares? It's not enough to freak the fuck out. So chill. Both men and women. Relax. It's a very good thing. It's very messy. Just be prepared for that, but it's a very good thing. Now, this is a stupid bullshit stat, and I went through different research, and it's basically 10 or 30 to 50% of women at one time experienced coming during an orgasm. Another ridiculous thing. Most people have done it at least once, just like you come regular, like in the non-squirting way, and then twice in your life you've been fucked in a way where you squirted like that. I'm sure there are women who had maybe one orgasm and one time that they ejaculated in their entire sexual history. There's the most random things happen to people, so it's really hard to gauge how many women out there are coming during an orgasm, and on a regular basis. Of course, the question being, have you ever? Of course, yeah, I have once. Most likely, the majority of women are going to say, yeah, at least once I did that, of course. If you've had enough sex. I just don't believe that a lot of women feel comfortable to squirt or come a lot on a regular basis with either themselves or other people. I still think that that is not as accepted. Even though there's a porn category, squirting, it's starting to become more popular and people are being more accepting of it, but women are still struggling, I think.
Right. And I think people are struggling to admit it, right? Even if they did do it, do they want to talk about it openly? Because they might just feel like, oh no, I don't want to tell people about that. So the numbers are out there, but who's to say how accurate they are? Like who's lying, who isn't, who's really coming forward to say that they're doing it?
Even if people are freaks and have kinks and are, nymphs like me, and like some people are embarrassed by that, even though they live a lifestyle in there and they're proud in that lifestyle, going to swingers parties or BDSM parties and being involved in a community where it's accepted.
Right.
But they might not. These people might even be my best of friends, like the closest friends for 15 years, and I might not know that they are somebody who's into all of this because they might A, be embarrassed in a way, or B, just don't want other people to judge that part of their life. Whether they do anything, disgusting that, like peeing or pooping or feet shit or anything, like choking somebody to the point where they're almost dying, like just weird shit. Like I got that from Shameless, where he actually tried to hang himself because she left. She didn't want to get involved in that. So people are just, right? I'm going to I think I have a whole choking post-it. Like there's a post-it where I'm going to spend an entire episode on choking. Everybody has their thing that I mean, this is me with my podcast. For the longest time, I never told any of my girlfriends that this is how I came. I don't think I even told them how much I masturbated. I knew that they weren't masturbating as much as me. I knew that they weren't coming for sure. I knew that they weren't as sexual as I was. But also, I didn't know that. But I just assumed, because I was a fucking freak and nobody talked about being into this stuff.
Were you not saying it because you were embarrassed, or were you like these people can't relate
to
me?
They can't relate. I didn't think that, because I don't really get embarrassed unless I have a crush on somebody and I'm weird. But that was the only time that I got weird, is with a boy or girl that I liked. But in those moments, I remember thinking, I knew I was too young to be masturbating as in general. Playing with myself, touching myself, that's normal in middle school. But I was masturbating and coming at 14 years old, and I didn't think that girls were doing that, even though they were sucking dick and we were getting fingered and shit. Nobody was really waking up in the morning and masturbating before school. I was the only person horny enough to do that.
Way to start the day.
But I really didn't think that they could relate, right? Fuck Wheaties or orange juice. No, that's the best way to get me started. I don't need coffee. Power off a real good orgasm, and I'm all right, get in the shower and fresh, lovely day. But it's nice.
People aren't comfortable with their sexuality for whatever reason, right? They're not comfortable saying what makes them happy. And I think, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, I'm not a professional, but I think sometimes maybe that's why some women don't experience an orgasm. They are afraid to say, ooh, this feels good, or ooh, that doesn't feel good. Stop doing that.
Absolutely. The fact that normal isn't normal. There's no normal. You can't just say, oh, straight male, straight female, having regular sex, missionary style, he comes, she doesn't. That's how we all think sex is in society.
Agreed. Yep.
And so if any tiny bit off of that is fucking weird to talk about, but it shouldn't be. And here we are, where Pornhub has the most ridiculous categories of things. And yes, it's porn, but a lot of it is stuff that really happens to normal people. A lot of this porn is full of amateurs and just people uploading their own shit. People are into all different types of stuff now, but we still don't talk about it. Because people don't want to be judged. It's I do a lot of stuff, but I don't do feet shit. But if you do things with feet, I respect that. But I'm going to be very clear. I don't do it, and I don't want to, and I'm not going to. No, don't knock until you try it. Not with that. Not with. That's the one thing that I know that I just could never do. Not the one thing, but that's just the one kind of normal thing out in the kinks world. But that's just me. That's just my preference. But if I were into feet stuff, which I'm into anal, which for some people is weird. I'm into choking, which for some people is also weird. I dated a guy for a bit who didn't like to hurt me at all. I'd be bite me, spank me, this, and he wouldn't want to do any of that. And so some people just have their whatever. but I think that it needs to be talked about. And I know for a fact that women feel guilty for enjoying sex because they've been conditioned to think that it's to please the man, it's to get the man off, and they at least have to finish. The woman can't just come and come and come, and then they're like, wait, why are you coming? Like, I didn't even come. Like, I'm the man. Like this. So even though it's not really, that's not the case for a lot of people nowadays, it's still in people's brains like this is normal. And it's just not. And so a lot of women are just scared. They're embarrassed. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to do the man wrong. They don't want to feel selfish. They feel guilty that this is happening. And then they don't feel comfortable about how it's happening because they never educated themselves and they never practiced and worked with their body to see, you know, if this can work or not. And I think that you just have to really just explore your body the most you can and try everything the most you can with yourself, with other people. Sometimes people are more comfortable doing these things with other people. You know?
True.
I've been with a couple of guys where I was their first squirter and they learned from me. One of the Russian that I dated loved it so much, this fool would rub it all over his body like lotion. He loved it so much, this fucking fool. I used to think he was so weird. But what am I going to say? I just came everywhere. That's partly my fault. My bad. We went through Lysol wipes, cum all over the wall, all over the floor. We Swiffered. I'm like, all right. We would take a shower and then we'd have to go do laundry. And oh my God, it was always the best. 2 mattresses in. I got double. That's why I got double mattress covers, because we went through 2 mattresses. We went through a mattress like every 8 months.
Like you flipped it over?
We flipped it over and everything. That shit goes right through.
Oh, wow.
One time when I was on vacation,
Your water intake, though?
I flipped it over and it went right through and I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, we just need to flip it over. I don't know what kind of mattress that was. It must have been an older mattress. It just went right through.
Oh my God.
Foam.
Wow.
I have a foam mattress. I have double mattress covers.
You need a water bag.
Waterproof mattress covers.
Yeah.
I have 2 waterproof mattress covers, and then I have the fitted sheet, and then I have the regular sheet, and then I have an absorbent fuzzy blanket on top of that.
Wow.
And I still use towels because I know how much I can come, and now that I am so open with how much I can come, I just keep coming, and I'm just like, let me see how much I can come. Let me see how much I can orgasm. Because if I deplete myself, and
I'm sorry, I feel like I need to see this. Like, what I can't
tell you, bitches wonder why I be smiling all day. How are you doing? Oh, it's COVID. Yeah, I know it really sucks, but what are you gonna do?
Oh my
and I
God.
bounce away. My clit still swollen from 4 hours ago. Can't wait for it to happen again. But that's the thing too. Oh, and I wrote this on a Post-it. I literally wrote this because this is a point that I wanted to really remember to say. After I orgasm, I want more sex. Like, even if I orgasm everything out, it makes me like can't wait for the next time that I'm getting ready to have sex. So I also tell people, the more you have sex, the more you want to have sex. Just like exercise. The more you have exercise, the more, again, those endorphins make you happy. They make you feel good. And it just, this boost of that, chemical in your body, you're going to want it again. That's why going to the gym, as you know, is addicting. Sex for me is addicting. And, eating donuts that are very delicious. It makes you happy. Ice cream makes you happy in your brain. These things put the chemical reaction, and it makes you want it again. So you get addicted to that good feeling. That's why addiction is a thing. So the more you have sex, the more you orgasm, the more it's going to be easier for you too. There were some stressful times in my life where I would go maybe like a couple weeks without having sex or a couple weeks without having an orgasm, masturbating. And I remember like getting back into it and being like, damn, I'm rusty. Like I used to be able to come in like 4 minutes, like on call, like just like rush myself, Now I'm sitting here like I don't remember which spot I used to hit, and like and then I don't even have the urge to do it because I haven't done it, So people who are married and who have kids and they get used to like being so tired and being so busy with the kids that they don't have sex a lot. It's very important for couples like that, whether you have kids or not, like if you have, differing schedules or anything like that, make some time, whether it be random, which is always the best thing, random, just have a quickie in the freaking kitchen as you're like, oh, excuse me, can I have a fork? Oh, sorry, my boner hit your side of your leg. Oh, wait, your pants are torn. And then just fuck the shit out of her. And then go about your day. And then you're going to want it again, and then you're just going to be happier for it. So Oh boy. This has been a controversial issue since as far back as the 17th century. People started researching it, rather. I'm sure the Greeks and the Romans and people in the tribes, like, I'm sure they're letting their women come and do whatever, but like in civilized life, as far back as the 17th century, people were researching if women are actually coming, if they can, if they do it, how do they do it, and how many people are doing it. But they couldn't really, again, at that time, gain that information because women were especially just laying there like freaking wood planks, just getting boned to have a baby. So, but people were interested in this topic as far back as that. All right, so you guys ready? I'm gonna teach our listeners how to squirt.
Oh boy,
I'm ready.
How to come, or what I do. Maybe I'll just talk about what I do.
Well, you can't talk about anyone else but yourself.
We all can talk. I mean, you talked about your coming. So, for me, I can do, when I masturbate, I can do the clit stimulation, and I can do that with a vibrator or with my fingers for 5 to 10 minutes, and I can make myself come. Again, with the A-spot, vaginal,
Wait, you do
orgasm,
clit
stimulation.
Okay, you need that toy that, I don't know if you ever seen it. Well, I have it. That thing will take you to the fucking moon.
What?
It sucks on it.
Oh, yes. I have one of
Tell
them.
me about that. You have one of those too? I might get one of those.
Bro.
It's
I
intense.
can't use it here because I'm loud.
That shit would, because the way that I am, that shit would make me come in less than 45 seconds. And like, I'm saying this because like, I want men to understand that women have moments too where we pre-ejaculate or where we come before we even thought that we could.
True.
And sometimes it takes us longer, just like it does with y'all. So it's like, don't ever think that as men or women that you're embarrassed because you come quick or something like that. Work on it and try not to, but some shit like that I'm not expecting from a machine.
I didn't expect it. I was just like, I wasn't ready.
I saw reviews and I was like, I gotta get this thing.
My ex got it. And I was just like, all right, whatever.
Your ex got it for you or for
Yeah, it was, we were in a relationship and he got it. And I was like,
got it.
I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? And he was like, oh, let me try something. I was like, okay, whatever. It normally takes me a long time to come, but
with that,
like I can't use it here. I need to buy my house already because then I can just yell from the fucking rooftop.
I can't get over like how many toys and things are out there, and I feel like such an amateur because I'm just now really getting into toys, because I used to be like a snob with it and be like, oh well, my hands do the trick and it's natural, and you know, when you have real sex it's not gonna feel like this, nobody's dick is as big, and that's what it is, guys. Stop. So when I broke both of my hands in 2013
I'm sorry,
and I developed arthritis in both hands, I started to get cramps when I would have those moments where it would take me too long to come, or I'd be watching porn and just hanging out, and I would really get cramps in my hands. So I remember getting one vibrator. I mean, I had vibrators like always, but I never had like anything that was just like specific like that. Like, oh, this is for the clit, and this is for this, and this also goes in your asshole, and this one, you know, tells you that you're a beautiful, smart individual. Like, you know, this whole contraption. I have to read instructions. I don't want to read instructions to please I know how to please myself. But sometimes I have to be like, yo, what the fuck? So my man bought me, oh my God, he was so sweet, months ago, not for no reason, like a random Tuesday gift, got me an anal plug with like a purple gem. So cute. And this purple vibrator wand thing. So it has it looks like a microphone essentially.
I have that.
I think
you have that?
I think I washed it.
It's like it's called a massager, but yeah, it looks like a microphone.
Yeah, it almost looks like a microphone. So like the top part is like a ball, and then it's just like I think it's some people call it.
It's like a long handle.
It's like a long handle.
Wait, those are not back
It looks
massagers?
like that. It looks just.
I don't know
like
whose
that.
back is getting massaged with that.
You can massage anything with that.
Really?
I seen it in sharper image. I thought it was a back massage. No, lies. Dead ass. I thought it was a. Oh no, well that's not massaging.
And then
mine's longer
listeners,
than that.
I'm showing the screen. I'm showing my toys. This is what I mean. Okay. So it looks like a microphone basically, and then this is just a suction one. I have two suction ones, but they're two different sizes. Dildos, regular dildos, which again I don't really use that much, but I will if I'm trying to give myself a cervical orgasm.
Okay.
And or like anything like that. So yeah, so that's what I use. So I have that, and I have what I call the bullet because it almost looks like chapstick. It's a vibrator that's like tiny, and that is the best best vibrator to use when you're receiving anal and you are not relaxed enough. If you stimulate your clit with that small vibrator as you're having anal sex, it helps relax your asshole and everything like that, because you're being stimulated in a good way on your clit, that everything is just very relaxed. So I have that as well. So sometimes I use that small one, sometimes I use this one. Both of them have more than one setting, obviously. The wand that I just showed you has like 16 settings. Sometimes I have to like listen to it to know at first if I'm going to enjoy it.
Yep, that's it. That's the one.
I'm
that's
like,
the one.
it'll be like, I'm like, no, I don't like, what is this jackhammer type shit? Like, nobody does that with their tongue or their fingers. Like, I don't want that. So sometimes I like just the regular, it's like, and then it gets into the whole, like all the drum beats and shit that they fucking have. Which is more distracting for me, because I'll be like, you know how when you're fucking to music and you try to fuck with the beat? If I start doing that with myself during masturbation, I mean, I think every women, you should always go with the beat with music. It helps that consistency with the, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Say that again?
Like listening to music while you're fucking and trying to actually go with the rhythm.
No, but Mo says she never listened to music when
having sex.
Oh, you don't? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I've wanted
I
to.
thought you said it's weird to do that, but you what?
It's weird.
Oh, you gotta set the mood.
I gotta make a list of things that are appalling that come out of Mo's mouth. No, I'm just kidding.
Because
I'm sure a lot of people
that I've
haven't.
dated.
I'm sure a lot of people haven't. You're not alone. Nobody's alone in this. Now you gotta think
wanted
about it.
to.
If it's my place, I always play
Turn that music on.
I always play music.
But then the person's not into the R&B that I'm into. Want to bust out some reggae or some shit?
They don't give a shit what kind of music it is. Don't play Polish polka, but like, no, they don't give a shit if it's anything that's sexy. Just type sexy playlist in Spotify and just.
I'll try.
And then good luck, because who gives a shit?
I'll try. I'll try this.
I mean, I will say for me, like, the music can't be too loud because it will
distracting.
Yeah, but that's
very
it. Yeah, but it helps with the just getting that groove in. But anyway, so that's my toy. That's what I do. So yeah, but and do you know what that small like vibrator that I actually had? Do you know what it actually really does? It comes with a remote.
Oh, you put in your panties?
And
I want one of those.
And so my man and I played with that twice in public places. Once when I was sitting and once when I was standing. And let me tell you, it's funny. Now they have apps and stuff. Yeah. I should have gotten the one with the app where he could do it from his phone. But like one day we were like sitting and like we were around people in like a waiting room, and he had it in his pocket and he was just pressing it. He didn't know which setting it was on, and I was just like. And everybody's looking at me like, you good? And I'm like,
I'm gonna order one. I want to do that. I always wanted to.
And he's just sitting there in the corner, just like with his hands in his pockets, looking
enjoying,
like he's not doing
what?
Shit.
I know I'm doing that to her. I'm doing that.
And then he thought he turned it off to give me a break, and he didn't. It was like,
just kept going.
I was like, the best acting skills I've ever had that day. Oh my God, it was like the hottest thing. My nipples are, I'm so horny right now thinking about that. This is the shit that gets me off. I love shit like this. So that type of, So even with that, like if I came in my pants that day, like it would have been donezo. When I masturbated, when I first learned how to squirt, I basically just, okay, so I want to start with, I knew that squirters were a thing when I got Napster and downloaded my first porn. I think it was Napster. Remember Napster, that program?
I couldn't afford that, so I did LimeWire.
And LimeWire. And I think Napster came first, and then they were charging, and then LimeWire came out, and then like iTunes came out, and they were like, it's only $1 for songs, and I was like, fuck y'all. I was like, fuck y'all. I was getting free porn and free Russian music and free, weird types of, whatever. I downloaded a lot of porn, and this porn star, her name was Cytheria, and she was an anorexic redhead who squirted gallons every time she came. And when she did, she would have these crazy involuntary muscle spasms where I thought this bitch had a seizure each time.
Oh.
That shit would make you scared. Like, oh my God, if I come like that, will I have this like seizure moment?
Oh, no.
Is that healthy for me? But then I found another, and she was known for her squirting. So she was like the squirting porn star of her day back in 2002 or something like that. Now they have a category. Now a lot of porn stars squirt and everything, but she was like the first one. When I saw another squirt video, it wasn't as much as her. It was different. The woman didn't like have a freaking epileptic episode. And I was like, oh, well, this is actually like, okay, more people do this. Now, I wasn't sitting there like, let me try to do this, but I would masturbate and I would just see what happens. And I would masturbate and try to see what happens. And one day, I squirted it out. And I was like, wait. And immediately I was like, is that pee? And then I was like, yeah, but I feel good. I don't feel like I have to pee. Like, it didn't make me feel like I had to pee. My clit just felt really
like pressure?
sensitive, and it was the pressure. So I was like, that was strange. And I think I just kind of like got weird and like cleaned up and like whatever, tried to get another day. And the other day I used a towel, and then it squirted more. And then I did this, and I'm going to say this, it's whatever. If you think it's gross, I don't give a shit. If somebody out there, I'm sure there's people out there who did it. I was like, yo, I wonder how much of this I can collect, bro. I found this container, this like bucket or something, and I was like, all right, I don't have anything to do for the next 5 hours. Game on. I tried to like measure the amount of cum that I can cum in like a day. I did. I was at that point I was probably 16 or 17 years old. Like this is later, like after so much practice, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting really good at this. I wonder how much I can really cum. I wonder how much of this can. Because I'm thinking in my head, how much is the towel absorbing? Like, because there were days where I'm like, fuck, not one towel didn't do it. Like, I need 2 towels, really? And then I started being like, I can't just keep going through this laundry. My mom was going to be like, what are you washing? What are you spilling? Oh, I'm so ditzy. I keep spilling my drinks all over the floor. She's going to be like, no, this does not smell like, what? Like, this smells like not that. This smells like something. Sasha.
Something else.
Sasha. Of course, I didn't, like, you know, nobody wants to think that their parents know things that they know. Every kid thinks, oh, mom, you don't know about drugs or squirting. What do you know? It's like they don't know shit. So I never had the conversation with my mom about squirting, but she did find that glow-in-the-dark vibrator I stole from Spencer's Gifts when I was 13 in my drawer one time because she was asking me why I needed so many double D batteries when I don't use my boombox anymore. And so I didn't know what to tell her, so she went through my drawers like, why does she need so many double D batteries?
Oh my God.
So she knew I was masturbating. She knew that I was whatever. And so she's just like, I just had to figure it out. So.
But did you fill the bucket?
I think it was a half gallon.
Wow. But in one day or like one time?
5 hours?
3 hours. In like 2 or 3 hours.
Lord.
I would orgasm, come, wait 5 minutes. Play with myself again, orgasm, come, wait. I'm telling you, I figured it all out. I practiced. I did all types of stuff for years. The thing that I couldn't do for the longest time was squirt while having sex. So I started masturbating. I started playing with myself maybe 11, 12, 13, got really into masturbating when my hormones at 14 and 15, lost my virginity almost at 18, and then I didn't successfully squirt with a man having sexual intercourse until I was 21. Okay. So there were a couple of years there where I was trying to figure out why I can't come when
That's
I'm
the first
having
time
sex.
I squirted at like 21.
High five!
Yeah.
So happy for us. So many things. We could
so
drink,
funny.
we could come. We can. I was gonna say rent a car, but that's 25. So yeah, so there were like an awkward 2 or 3 years where I was having sex, and again, I wasn't telling people that I can squirt because we were teenagers and early in college and people weren't ready for that yet. I might have mentioned it to people like, oh, when I masturbate I squirt, but I don't when I'm having sex. Like I thought that was just how my body worked. And again, when I would see these porn stars, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. The men were taking out their dicks in order for them to squirt. I didn't write that down on a notepad. So would you like a notepad now, bitch?
No.
This one over here trying to take notes on how to squirt.
Oh
That is the
God.
one note that I fucking discovered is that because the penis blocks that hole.
Yep.
Their penis is not blocked by anything by your sweet, juicy pussy. So, yeah, of course they can come inside and they can come out. But, like, we actually are there, depending on how you're getting fucked or whatever toys or what have you is in your pussy, a cucumber, whatever you have. If you cover that hole because it's just that it's just being covered, you're not going to be able to expel it. And so you might try to come and it might get wet around it and it might start building up, but it won't be able to shoot out. Now, not everybody shoots it out. So some people just drip. Some people have a little bit of a spray, like almost like a little, like, you know, like a little spray bottle type of like a little spray. And then there are people like me, which I call the fire hydrant. I call myself a fire hydrant, the way it does. And I'm telling you, when I was with the Russian and he loved it, and like he would be on top and I'd be down, and I do that thing where you rub your pussy as you're squirting and it literally sprinklers around the room. And that's how we ended it up with the walls and the ceilings and having to sister the entire fucking bedroom when we were done. It's like we gotta be like Dexter and cover the whole room in plastic. They do this with some porn.
That's what you need. You need a plastic room. You need a room that's just covered in plastic.
You just need a room for sex.
Everything needs to be waterproof. Yeah. I will get there. I will get to a place in my life where I will either have a house or a nice condo where the third or second bedroom is just a sex room. I've always dreamt of doing that. And I want to put a stripper pole in there because that just is another dream.
I had one years ago.
Yeah. Big thing that I discovered over time, and anybody can use this, because of how much I would come, I was tired again of wasting these towels and wasting and washing so much, all these sheets and everything, that I started buying essentially puppy pads under bed or whatever for elderly people or children who pee the bed or who have uncontrollable whatever. But it looks just like a puppy pad, and I would get the large ones and I would put it in between my blanket and my sheet because it sounds like crinkle, you know, it sounds like, you know, like a plastic bag almost, because if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, you should. It's like a thin piece of plastic.
It's a wee pad.
And then but maybe people don't know what this is. It's a thin piece of plastic, and then there's this absorbent material that's like glued onto it, so that's sealed around, so that the almost like cotton, you know, thing absorbs, but it's being held in that pocket of plastic. So I got them because with the Russian, I started buying them because we destroyed 2 mattresses, and I was like, this has to stop. He just wanted to soak the whole room, and I'm like, honey, like we have to clean every fucking time. I have to buy different shit all the time. I'm tired of doing this. And he's like, no, but it's so great. And I'm like, bro, like this is really starting to get weird. Like I need to protect our shit. So I was like, I think I even Googled it, and people were like, oh yeah, use these. And I was like, that's brilliant. Like I should be doing this whole time. So I started using those. And so this fool, who again is just obsessed with my cum, I'd be on top. Now you were saying how you don't squirt when you're on top. I can squirt in any position, but I squirt a lot better if I'm upright because it comes out better. It's just like, you know, I don't know. I could squirt a lot either way, but for some reason it's easier for me, especially when you're riding and you're having the clit and the cervical or vaginal stimulation at the same time. It's even easier for me to come because of all those combined. I would come so much and it would just land all on this pad, and we would wrap it up, you know, and ball it up, and it would be heavy. Sometimes it would be heavier than not. And so the Russian, my ex who I lived with, and who was obsessed with the most obsessed with my cum out of anybody I ever knew. He would weigh them almost like fucking diapers and be like, oh wow, good job.
Oh,
like, oh wow, you had a lot
okay,
today.
I thought that was going in a different direction. Okay,
yeah,
I'm glad it went there.
Please tell me what you guys were thinking, because you know how I don't listen to myself while I talk.
Well, you said he was obsessed, so I don't know what he was gonna do with that.
Oh, wring it out and drink it?
Maybe.
Well, not drink. I thought he was gonna wring it out and just be like, oh, all over my body.
Who knows if he did that behind closed doors? Because I would put it in another plastic bag. I was always paranoid that it would, like, I would just put it in another plastic bag and like throw it out, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did that shit. I thought it was just, again, everybody has their kinks, and I'm glad that you love and I'm saying this as I'm a person who loves getting cum shots all over me. I love when a guy ejaculates all over my face and chest, so like I'm not much different, but this is like soaking everything, and he just puts it everywhere, and it was so hot to him, and it was hot to me that he got really turned on by it. I was just tired of the massive mess, because it's already a mess.
It's a mess.
Like he just wanted a mess and a cleanup, and then now weighing of it was just like we couldn't finish sex without it being comical in some way. So yeah, basically the clit stimulation is the quickest and easiest way for me. I had sex, like oh my God, when people fuck the shit out of me, it doesn't matter how big your penis is, it's the position. And if you're fucking the shit out of me and I have no control whatsoever over where you hit my G spot and my A spot, I have very sensitive everything. My nipples are sensitive, my clit is sensitive, everything is really heightened. So whenever I am having sex and I feel that and I don't want it to stop, but I know that he has to take his dick out for me to come, I'm just gonna like let my orgasm go to the most peak where I actually start coming. And then I say, oh my God, I'm coming. And I either push the person out or they know from having sex with me for so long that they know that when I say I'm coming that they just take it out real quick. And then they take their dick and they just like, it's really sexy to take your dick and just like rub it all over the clit as it's squirting, because then it like goes and it's like this cool, a small sprinkler, not as aggressive as me, you know, doing it with my hand where it sprinkles all over the walls and shit. And so that's really hot. Now, I'm talking a lot about males and females. So I don't want to neglect lesbians, obviously, because they have it differently when they orgasm. They don't have to, unless they're using, you know, toys and dildos, they don't have to worry about blocking that hole. So you can be eating, and especially for all women who get eaten out, you can just uncontrollably come and not even have a chance to tell that person. But if you have something in there and you're like, okay, I'm about to come, I can't come with you in, so I need to tell you so you can, and then you go. Mm-hmm. My one friend asked me about squirting, and she was terrified that it was always pee. A couple of people also reached out to me. I asked a bunch of my friends on social media, and I think about 85% of the women who do have orgasms admitted that, yeah, they come. But I said on a regular basis. That was my question. Because I don't care if you came once in your life. Like, I care if you come on a regular basis or if you don't. And if you don't, like, are you working on that? Is that something that you're doing because you're scared to, or you're nervous to, or you just never even thought about it? Some people don't even think about it. They're like, oh, you come? Right. They're like, oh, I don't come. And I'm like, well, have you tried that? What's the point? And these are bitches that don't fucking love sex, you know, because they're just like, why? What is it? What's the point? But this bitch loves sex, and this bitch had so many different orgasms and cum situations and practice, and it's just like, yeah, it's kind of gross to be able to explore your body and figure all this stuff out, but like, yo, like measuring the amount of cum and like finding out how much is so fascinating to me, that when I come and if I like record it or like do anything and I watch it, I'm just like, whoa, look at me go. Like, I'm impressed with myself for like however many years I've been coming like that. I'm so impressed with myself, and I just can't believe that not everybody can do this, because it's like a superpower. You're like a unicorn. A unicorn is either like a girl that can be in a threesome with a couple, or like just anything that's rare, like somebody who squirts. But I'm hoping that more people squirt and they're just not talking about it. And I want people to let me know after this podcast if this is helping you, if you feel like you're more comfortable doing this. And if not, then, you know, ask me more questions, you know, do your own research, like I always say. But I think people are even nervous to do research because they feel like they're not going to understand it. Unless you have people like us talking about real life experiences, knowing you're not alone, and knowing that it's okay to go through these things and to have these feelings, but don't let that be the end all, you know? Don't knock it till you try it type of a thing. There's nothing wrong with trying to go as far as possible and then saying, okay, well, this makes me uncomfortable, so maybe not, you know?
Right. You know, I was just thinking as you were talking, I'm like, this is a great platform for you, right? Like, this is amazing, right? Like, just hearing you talk about it, you know, your excitement, your enthusiasm, like, I hope that a lot of women especially tune in and listen to your podcast and they feel comfortable listening to how comfortable you are, right? Because it's really just like a comfort thing. And the more comfortable you get with your sexuality and talking about sex and what you like and what you don't like, the more we can have more women come out and speak up and have like share this platform with you. I think it's really good.
Absolutely.
Just seeing how comfortable you are and hearing how comfortable you are is just, it's refreshing.
Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely.
And that's really the point. I think on every episode, I'm always like, well, that is the point. I'm not just sitting here to talk about sex and to laugh at each other's stories. I do want people to increase their knowledge and be more confident with their sexual skills. I want people to increase their sexual skills. I want them to be more comfortable and be more confident, because once you're in that place, let me tell you, like, I'm happy most of the time because I'm very open and honest with myself, not just sexually, just in all forms. And you have to be kinder to yourself and allow yourself to do that. You don't need to torture yourself all the time with what life is pressuring you. It's bad enough us women need to worry about looking good and trying to be successful, you know, just doing all these things that stress us out. Y'all need to get fucked. You need to get fucked, and you need to get fucked the right way, and you need to come, and you need to release, and you need to learn about your bodies, and you need to be more comfortable with other people. It's like, oh, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? If you don't treat your body properly and understand your body properly, how are you going to do that with somebody else? Sex is very intimate. With yourself and with other people, and with strangers, with people you know, with anybody. You have to feel that within yourself. Why share that with somebody if you're not going to feel comfortable? That energy it doesn't make it work. So if you're in a relationship or in a marriage, or you're just dating or in a situationship, and you're just like struggling in that sexual aspect, don't blame it on the other person. Don't blame it on yourself. Have a conversation with yourself. Have a conversation with that other person. Have a conversation with me, even if you don't feel comfortable yet, right? I could be a mini sex therapist for anybody who wants to reach out to me and ask me questions, and before they go on and discuss this with other people. It's all about comfort and confidence. So I'm really hoping that people gain from that. So thank you so much, because that it's really not about me and and talking about my most favorite thing to do in the whole wide world. But it's like, oh, that's what I do all the time anyway with my friends. And so a couple of my friends were like, why don't you talk about this? When I was trying to figure out what podcast to do, you know, this is perfect for you, because I think maybe out of everybody, like I said, I think I masturbate the most out of every female I know. I think that I talk about sex more than anybody I know. Sometimes I talk about it more than guys. I feel like I think about it more than guys. And that's another thing too I'll talk about later, is who's hornier. It's like, I'm horny as fuck all the time. I feel like I'm a guy. But I'm not. It's just me, and I'm just horny all the time. And other women can be too, and they're just not talking about it. We got to talk about it. Yep. Talk about it. That's why this is a podcast and not like a fucking video, because you don't want to see the things I do. All right. I'm going to close real quick with just the tip. We have pee before and after if you're really freaking out about that. But remember, it's not all pee. Number 2, waterproof mattress covers. Get them if you feel like you need to, and save money on those towels. Also get the bed covers for the absorption. If not, just, you know, have enough towels if you're willing to wash them all. And practice your Kegels, women. Definitely practice your Kegels. Make sure your pelvic floor muscles are strong enough to be able to support these orgasms and have them more frequently, and be able to ejaculate more comfortably. As always, how it goes with all sex, stay focused, stay relaxed, and when you're orgasming, just let it go. Just let it be its own thing. Please always remember, guys, that we are very lucky to live in a time and place where we get to have sex with who and how we want, and that not everybody is afforded that right. Thanks again to Mo and Ariella for joining us today. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me again.
I want you to come back next week for a discussion on the male orgasm. It's been a pleasure getting fucked with all of you. Stay sexual. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. For more pleasure and direct contact, follow me on Instagram at We're All Fckd Podcast. Or you can email me at podcastbysasha@gmail.com. A huge thanks to our sexy listeners and our guest host for today.